Hi guys, this is Walawa TV and you're cooking with Misho. Today's Tuscan herb chicken wrapped in bacon was requested by one of our delicious fans from the US. It's so easy to make, so delicious, and will make it look like you spent hours preparing something that's so delicious from Tuscany. It's just chicken breast with Tuscan herbs, crumbed with Kellogg's cornflakes or Special K. So we start off by slicing the chicken breast into two pieces. We're only going to serve small, delicate sized pieces which are quite filling. So at first, one chicken breast in half, then with each half we slice in the center, but we don't go all the way through to the bottom. So what we're going to do is slice the slices. First, remove any excess fat or veins from the chicken breast itself. So we get a clean, very fresh chicken breast, and we slice that in half. And as you can see, we find the white vein that's in the center of the chicken breast. It's just a line of fat. So we slice it through, we don't go through to the bottom, and then we slice the slices. So you see we slice, so we enable the flavor of the butter and the Tuscan herbs to go right through the chicken breast without actually leaking from the inside of the breast. With the thigh, we leave the skin on so that we can actually stuff it with any leftover butter and crumbs and fresh herbs that we may have left over. So 3 to 4 tablespoons of butter. With the Tuscan herbs, be careful of when you're using Tuscan herbs, especially with this one. It has a lot of salt, and I basically wanted a strong flavor, so I added 2 tablespoons of Tuscan herbs. Tuscan herbs is just dried basil, thyme, rosemary, and oregano. It's a very Italian flavor. However, this brand has got so much salt in it that probably 1 tablespoon is enough. However, in my case, I've used 2 and still managed to make it work anyhow. We use the butter for both the garlic bread and to stuff inside the chicken. So you'll see in a moment when we do that. Once you've mixed that all up, put that in the fridge and let's get our vegetables prepared. We want to remove all the leaves from the broccolini, and if you want to, you can take out those little purple leaves off the asparagus as well. So we cut off the ends of the broccolini, and we basically want to have the whole stem and the broccolini flower cook at the same time. So we don't, as you probably know, that the broccolini, the floralette will cook very fast, but the stalk will take a few minutes extra. So what we're going to do to fix that, first make sure you've cleaned up all your broccolini and the asparagus. Then we're going to actually slice a slice into the broccolini stalks. So it's about a 2 to 3 centimeter slit into the broccolini stalk, and that allows the cooking of the broccolini to be all at the same time for about 2 to 3 minutes without overdoing the floralette and underdoing the stalks. So we want a crunchy broccolini that's cooked all the way through. We will do the same thing with the asparagus. You'll see if you find that there's a brown spot in the asparagus, just cut it off and cut the asparagus into 3 to 4 centimeter lengths of asparagus stalks. So the thick stalks, we want to do the same as we did with the broccolini. The tops of the asparagus will actually cook quite fast, so we use a cross slice into the stalks of the asparagus, and then it allows us to cook the whole asparagus or the broccolini at the same time without having to take some out, put some back in. So do cross slices for all of the first 2 lots of asparagus stalks and leave the balance to just as it is. So you should have something like this. Now come back to the chicken. We just want to lightly marinate with the Tuscan herbs. So we have a flavor on the outside and a flavor on the inside. So sprinkle lightly, rub it through the outside of the chicken, and then you can just leave them aside because we still have got quite a few things to do before we come back to the chicken. So marinate, put them in a plate or a bowl and just cover them and leave them for about 20 to 30 minutes. It's even better if you can leave them overnight, but it's not completely necessary. So put the chicken aside, and we're going to prepare the crumb. This is where we actually use Special K or cornflakes. I like Special K because it's a lot thicker. A cornflakes is quite a thin wafer biscuit. We add a little bit of Tuscan herbs to the crumbs itself and then crush it with our hands. If you want to use a garlic crusher, you also can. It's the ceramic crusher, I mean. But I just prefer to use my hands. It's a lot quicker, and then it's a lot easier to blend through the herbs with the crumbs themselves. So once you've done that, we're going to actually use a bit of coriander. You can use fresh coriander if you have the patience to chop up coriander, but these Gourmet Garden fresh coriander tubes are amazing, already prepared for you. Mix that through with 1 or 2 eggs. It's entirely up to you. This is just to coat the chicken before we put the crumbs on it. So it's about 1 tablespoon of coriander, 1 egg. Try to use a flat tray. It's a lot easier to work with when you use a thin flat tray rather than a bowl. So now we're going to butter and make our garlic bread. Now this is meant to be a romantic recipe for one of our fans, so we're not going to use any garlic because this is for something that you're going to hopefully get some love in at the end of the night. So we're not going to put any garlic because, as you all know, garlic smells. So we've used the Tuscan herb butter to butter all of the bread. We've cut the bread into about 4 centimeter thick garlic bread. Now remember, there's no garlic in this. It is just Tuscan herbs and butter, which we prepared earlier. Put the butter on all and both sides of the bread, and then place them on your tray ready for baking when you bake the chicken. Basically, if you want to, you use the spoon and you put a slit through the bread also, so that the butter goes right through from one end to the other. Remember, butter both sides of the bread and prepare them for baking when you've done the chicken. Now we're ready to bake the chicken. So what we're going to do is basically put the balance of the butter inside the chicken breast that we've cut up. So lay down all the bacon. If you have a long rasher bacon, it's better because then you can just wrap the whole piece around, but I like to use 2 pieces of bacon. So then we put the chicken inside the bacon as tight as we can and run it through the coriander and egg wash, and then basically completely cover it with the breadcrumbs. The breadcrumbs we've used here is crushed Special K by Kellogg's. You can use cornflakes or any type of cereal that is a thick flake. So we're not using cornflakes because it's quite a thin flake. We like to use Special K. Cover it up, press it into the breadcrumbs and put it onto your baking tray. Repeat that for the second chicken breast also, and you should have some things left over. So if you've decided to use Maryland or the thighs with skin on, what we're going to do is we're going to slice up and chop finely all of our bacon, the leftover bacon. We can chop into small pieces or fine slices. It's completely up to you, and we're going to keep that piece of fat that is been taken off from the bacon. We don't want to waste anything, so put that in with your breadcrumbs. Add a little bit of egg and the balance of butter that you have left over. Mix it through thoroughly until the crumbs become they collect together and they stick all together. Once you've done that, put it inside the chicken thigh and fill it up as much as you can until you get a nice large bump in the chicken skin. Put that piece of fat over the top of the thigh, and then drizzle over a little bit of the egg and coriander wash over the top. You don't need to put crumbs on the outside. Bake this for 25 to 30 minutes on 200 degrees, and while you're doing that, you actually we're going to decorate it with baby beets. Because this is so salty, we're going to use a vegetable that's quite sour. So these little baby beets we're going to use as a decoration and as the side dish with the fresh vegetables that we've cooked. So slice it as thin as you can, and basically you can cut them into thin slices or even julienne size slices of beetroot, and then place them on your plate. Decorate the plate how you wish. If you want to draw a love heart around the plate, you can. If you want to stack up stacks of beetroot, you can. I just like to have mine quite modular. Boil the asparagus and the broccolini at the same time for just 2 minutes. We have already prepared them so that they cook fast and they are still crispy fresh. Serve this up on a plate, and there you have it. Moist chicken breast with a crunchy Tuscan skin with fresh vegetables. Serve it with a few slices of lemon and your garlic bread, beetroot, and get yourself ready for a romantic night in. This is Walawa TV, and you're cooking with Mishaw.